Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
I call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee on November 25th, 2025 at 5:33 p.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the October 11, 2025 Finance Committee meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. We have nobody in chambers or online. So we can move on to item 4, Finance Director Report, and I believe our administrator is filling in our Finance Director's absence.
I am. Good evening, everyone. We had a previous discussion in advance of the meeting that I am not necessarily a very sound substitute for our Finance Director, but I am what you have available this evening. So I will start off just by sharing some brief information. Misty had mentioned to me that she had begun to receive all of the taxing jurisdictions information in advance of the property tax bills that will be going out next month. So she's compiled the preliminary numbers. They do still need to be verified with Dane County yet, obviously before the tax bills go out, but preliminarily I will share what we are looking at this point in time, and I will also share this information during the administrator's report at the Common Council meeting. But I'm going to start and end this information by saying the city portion of the tax bill increased $83 or 3.1%. And the overall estimated tax impact for an average single-family home in Fitchburg based on school district is as follows. The Madison Metropolitan School District is a $988 increase. The Oregon School District is looking at a $267 increase. And the Verona Area School District is looking at a $465 increase. And I will also reiterate that the dollar amount that this Common Council has influence and control over was an $83 increase out of those totals that I just provided to you. So obviously, as I mentioned, Misty's in the process of verifying information with Dane County, but we do believe that those are fairly accurate preliminary numbers at this point in time.
So that's inclusive of Dane County?
Yep, that's
increase
inclusive
as well,
of
and
all
MATC.
Taxing jurisdictions, exactly. So, and just for reference, in this information, Dane County's increase was about $49 or 3.9%. And MATC's increase was $7 or about 2.2%.
Very interesting.
And then, of course, there are the lottery credits and first dollar and state school tax credits are all calculated into this number as well that I just gave you.
And then does this include, like, is this representative of the dollar amount that somebody would write on a check, or like is trash pickup factored in here?
Yes, the numbers that I gave to you, I believe, do include the recycling and refuse charges.
Okay, and that was what, $3 or $4.
Yeah, it's not a significant increase on the refuse and recycling. I do believe you're correct. It was $3 or $4.
You can go on. I see no other
That's all I
questions.
had for the finance director's report. You'll
Great.
get a probably much more thorough update next month or next meeting.
Wow. That's some news. All right. We can move on to item 5, review, just as a note, we do have a treasurer's report from as of September 30, 2025 in the packet as well. Moving on to item 5, review of bills. 5A, detailed review of all checks issued, checks 129543 to 129658 from November 1 to 15, 2025, totaling $898,294.46. Comments or questions? Bill?
Yeah, a couple of dog-related questions. I saw there was a Kaiser Ford canine service, and I'm wondering, what does it take to have a dog, to make your squad car dog ready? And then the second one was there was some dental care for the dog. So I'm interested in his oral hygiene as well.
What I can say is that from my previous role, there is actually a climate-controlled insert that goes in the back of a squad car that will help keep the canine climate controlled and safe as they're driving around the city. So I'm assuming that is one of the things that may have been perhaps needing some service, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, I wasn't smart enough to write down the dollar amount, so I don't remember what that was.
Okay. Or there could have also been, Kaiser does typically do just the general maintenance or repairs on vehicles as well. And did we buy a new car for this canine unit, perhaps? Why don't I find out for you exactly what that looks like?
Yeah, it looks like the total was $3,900 or so.
Okay.
So,
And then do you need information on the dental care?
I have paid for dental care on a dog, and it is within that general vicinity, I would say. It requires anesthesia, so it is not generally a cheap purchase.
Well, yeah, so that kind of leads, there's like $1,800, which, if it's a one-off, that's not a big deal. If it's annual, well, then you might start thinking about, should we get pet insurance? Because they make that.
So I can't say what we have going for this particular canine, but in the past we have had donated services. And in most cases, the first draw for any canine-related expense is the donation account. So I'm curious if these charges actually came out of the donation account, in particular the dental service, but I can check in on that too.
anything else? All right, we can move on to 5B, review of P-card transactions for the cycle ending October 6, 2025, totaling $224,180.90. Comments or questions? Bill? No? Okay, great. Seeing no questions or comments, we can move on to item 6, action items. First is 6A. I'll need a motion on resolution R225, amending the 2025 library fund budget for utility costs.
I'll move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. And our library director is going to give us an introduction.
There we go. Hello. So I'm back again. We've done this before. Utility account for the library is going to be overspent, so we are moving some money around to cover that. If you recall, we replaced the chiller at the library in spring of 2024, so we wrote the budget for 2025 shortly thereafter, and we had real high hopes that it was going to be much more efficient and save us money, and that has not panned out. We have also had a lot of issues with the solar not functioning, so we made too deep of a cut, and now we are moving some money around, specifically from the disability premium account and then from higher interest income than we expected.
And how much is the total?
We are moving $35,000. I think that is probably quite a bit more than we need, but our bills have kind of been all over the place this year, so we're making sure we've got enough.
Are we concerned about this being an issue in 2026?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Less of an issue because we were able to put about $10,000 more into that account, but we probably realistically need 20.
Great. So we'll tackle that in 2027, I guess.
So I'll be back next year.
Other questions, Micah?
I have one. So this might be a dumb question. I have solar on my house, and so I do time of use billing. So like I pay more during the day, but then I get more back from the solar. Is that how MG&E charges us? Because if my solar went down, I'd start paying twice as much for my utility costs because I wouldn't be actually producing any solar during the day.
I don't think it works exactly the same because the entire array was out for a third of last year, and our bill didn't increase that much.
Okay.
So I think we see less benefit, but we've never it's never lowered our bills dramatically. So right now it's a third of the array that's not working. So we're on our 8th inverter. We have 3 inverters on the library, and we just replaced number 8.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's been kind of a constant battle.
And so you said you had high hopes that the chiller would be more efficient. Do we have actual data on the chiller specifically?
No. So I have anecdotal data from Kevin Richmond, who's the building and grounds supervisor. The old chiller we were running around the clock because it couldn't catch up if we turned it off overnight. So the new one we do turn off overnight, but it is not reducing the bills in the way that we thought it was going to.
Seeing no other questions, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of resolution R225, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Wendy. Next is 6B. I'll need a motion on resolution R21025, authorizing renewal of flock safety subscription.
I'll move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Tim, are you tackling this one?
Yes, I can. The City of Fitchburg recycling drop-off site is unstaffed and requires a form of security. The flock safety license plate reading camera is a subscription-based product that the city installed in 2023 at the recycling drop-off site. The flock camera at the recycling drop-off site is used to identify vehicles responsible for illegal dumping and provide deterrence of illegal dumping. This resolution authorizes renewal of the recycling drop-off site flock safety subscription for 3 years from 2026 through 2028 for a total of $9,000. So we're looking for council to authorize the renewal of the recycling drop-off site flock safety camera subscription for 2026 through 2028 and authorizes an annual amount of $3,000 from the leases and rentals account for the flock safety camera subscription.
Thanks, Tim. Questions from the committee? Micah.
I think I guess I would say, should we move this to council without a recommendation? I know that's what Public Works did, and I think there might be some discussion there.
I'll entertain that motion.
Yeah, that's fine with me as well. Tim, during the Public Works meeting, you kind of suggested that the main use case for this was, hey, look, we found somebody over, since yesterday has dropped off something illegal, and then go back and review the camera footage, and most of our security cameras don't have high enough resolution to read the license plate. And so that was
correct. It could be the resolution. It could also be the angle that the vehicle was at. Also kind of the lighting. So I spoke to Mark, our street supervisor, a little bit more after the last Board of Public Works meeting. And prior to Flock, when we just utilized our other cameras, we only got the license plate. He estimated about 10% of the time. It just didn't, read the plate from the distance the cameras are to where we were looking, or like I mentioned, the angle could be off, the lighting, a number of things. So that the flock camera, we pretty much get the plate every time, if not all the time.
So my question is, do we need a $3,000 a year subscription for that, or can we get a different high-resolution camera mounted in the same place with local storage only, so we don't have to worry about leaking privacy data?
I'm not sure. With something we could look into, and the costs with that, I would have to check with our IT department on all that.
So I'll just add a little bit more to that. I don't know the answer to that either, but I can say that I've been here through the evolution of how we got to an LPR camera at the Public Works drop-off facility. As Tim mentioned, we went through actually several iterations of trying to use regular video surveillance cameras, a variety of resolutions, day-night cameras, positioning them in different places, putting speed bumps to try to slow cars down where we had cameras positioned to try to capture enough information that would allow staff to be able to kind of backtrack where an illegal dumping of material or appliances or mattresses or whatever may have been there. And we could not find anything that would meet the needs in order to, one, backtrack it, and two, have something that municipal court would be comfortable with if citations were to have been utilized from a vehicle identification standpoint. And ultimately, an LPR camera was the only solution that we found that could reliably capture license plate information and then be utilized by cross-referencing the video surveillance system at the Public Works drop-off facility. Could technology have improved in the last couple of years? Possibly. I don't know. But I will say that we tried a number of different high-res cameras several years ago in order to try to address the situation without any success.
I do know, I don't have, specifics on that, but I do know there are LPR companies now that provide local data storage as well and are not connected to a nationwide network. So there are current options within the last I think we got this 4 years ago or so. Yeah. So within the last 4 years that have come out with that.
Micah, did you want to officially move to refer without a recommendation?
Sure. I'll move to send this to council without a recommendation from finance.
All right. So the current motion on the floor is to refer to council without a recommendation. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are referring to council. Next item, I'll need a motion on Resolution R-21425, amending the 2025 General Fund Budget, Recreation and Community Services Department Office Furnishings.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. And Jill. And what's your new title now?
Head of the city.
Yeah.
Just teasing.
I'll gladly give that.
I know, yeah, no thanks. Recreation and Community Services Director.
Welcome in your new role.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead.
It's a slow roll. So this here is part of that slow roll. With the transfer of Sarah over to the police department, we're using some of the position savings to redesign the social works office to bring Jessica, the community outreach coordinator, down to the senior center in January. Bringing her down into that office, though, requires a new desk unit, and also just due to the nature of the social work and what they do and the people in and out of the office, and then what Jessica's doing, which requires a little more privacy. She's not really customer facing, and that office does get a lot of people in and out. So we had to do a lot of redesigning in there to fit another desk unit, and also adding some partitions and some other things. And so that's what this request is, moving that money to pay for this new office equipment. And we stayed with the city's provider, M&M, so we can continue to reflect what the rest of the city looks like.
And the total cost of this is about $17,500?
We hope it's going to come in a little bit lower than that, though.
Great. Other questions? Bill?
So it looks like there's 4 cubicles here.
There is.
Is that like the one with more privacy for Jessica, and then upgrades for 3 other people because we're aging out of the old equipment? Or?
No, that's Jessica's. There's 3 desks currently in there. The old one will be Jessica's, but then we're adding some partitions, some other things to make her more private. And then the other desk then is going to be moved around. We need a couple chairs. It was a little sticker shock for myself as well. It's been, it's 2012 when I bought furniture before. But that seems to be what the pricing is with M&M. And again, to go out and try to rebid this and have desks that don't look alike, that don't even match the city's interior, I just, didn't feel comfortable doing that. So some of that was design fees as well, because it took a lot to put in another desk and a lot of moving things around because there has to be, sufficient walkway to meet code and that kind of stuff. So that's what it came back at.
Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R 21425, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Jill. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 21925, purchase of lockers and evidence storage system for police services facility, and this is a direct referral.
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Ledesay.
I'm going to cover this one.
Thanks, Chad.
Obviously, the police services facility is currently under construction. They received a quote to install evidence storage and lockers in the building. That quote that they received is about $50,000 less than budgeted for this project. And they were also informed that as of January 1, there will be a price increase on the materials, hence why we are moving forward with a request to Common Council to purchase this now. It's also my understanding the company is willing to store the items, even though they will have been ordered and paid for until they're ready for installation as well. So, and I believe the increase was about 5% is what they anticipate that to be. So on this $500,000+ purchase, that's a good $25,000 savings. So.
And what is the total cost for these?
$527,000, I believe, was what the quote said. Yeah, $527,765.32.
Love that it's coming in under budget.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pleasant surprises under budget there with that project so far.
I think that probably speaks a little bit to the fact that we're better at estimating than we were in the past, at least with the new environment. But also, it seems like truly prices have been coming in lower, which is great.
Yeah, it has definitely been helpful.
Yeah. Questions, Bill?
Yeah, there was some verbiage in here that said, this was not part of the construction amount or whatever. I guess just for full transparency, are there other items that are not included in the construction cost and not considered part of the FF&E that we have to worry about in the future?
The AV equipment falls into that category. I think there was conversation at some point in the last resolution that came through that identified that specifically as one of the other items that was not part of the project bid. And you're going to see, actually, I think there was a referral at this meeting in regards to the AV equipment coming in over budget. So there's a request to actually reject that, and they'll look to rebid that with some modifications to the specs after the first of the year. So I know that one specifically is in that category that you mentioned.
Okay. And then I guess just to reiterate, another thing that caught my eye was it said pricing is based on all material being ordered and installed at the same time. We have it in writing from them that they're okay storing it and not increasing the installation costs when the time comes? And when do we think that's going to be?
I can't answer that question. I can find out if you would like me to, but that was what was relayed to me verbally, was that the company had told them, and I don't know if that is in writing or not. The project is slated for completion by April, I think 15th of 2027 is what the contract says. This is items that would, obviously go in after walls and other things are in. So I'd hate to begin to estimate, at what point they'll go in, but it would probably be in the later half of the construction project would be my guess.
Yeah, I guess my point was this is probably going to be not a very short-term storage for these guys. It's probably going to be at least half a year.
Yeah, I would guess 6 to 12 months probably seems fair.
Okay. And there's not, I don't imagine this stuff like models change very frequently, and they're going to have trouble installing because they ran out of parts for the old-fashioned stuff.
I wouldn't think, yeah.
Okay.
And then what is the funding source for this? Is this coming from the debt financing for the police facility?
I can double check. I believe that would be the case, yeah.
Great. Seeing nothing else, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R 21925, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 22125, authorizing legal services in defense of the Reginald Mims lawsuit, and this is a direct referral.
I move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Chad, will you be covering this?
Yeah, I think I will be, unless Valerie happens to be on, which I'm guessing she probably is not, if you're asking if I'm covering it. So the city has received a lawsuit filed against it from a person named Reginald Mims. This stems from an interaction with the city's police department. The city has forwarded this lawsuit claim to our insurance company. Our insurance company has authorized the city to pay Axley Law Firm for representation in this particular case. I know you'll hear more about this overall in the Common Council meeting, because I know Valerie is planning on being in attendance there. We do have a $37,500 deductible with our insurance company. So what this resolution does is authorize the city to spend up to $37,500, and then obviously that would meet our deductible requirements if it does even exceed the $37,500.
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor of Resolution R 22125, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 22425, authorizing contracting with Baker Tilly for IRA tax credit consulting and compliance services for the Police Services Facility Project, and this is a direct referral.
I'll move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Who's going to cover this one?
I've got this one as well.
All right.
So the police services facility is utilizing a number of energy efficient building components to include a solar array, geothermal, enhanced building envelope, and several other items, many of which we anticipate will qualify for tax credits under the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the nature of those credits and the, I would say, the expertise that is required to fully capitalize what might be available for the city to reduce the overall cost of this project, we believe it would be appropriate to outsource those services to Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly has worked with the city in the past on a number of items. They do possess the necessary experience in order to assist the city with this. A preliminary estimate has I think, approximately $530,000 in tax credits anticipated on this project. Obviously, as they do a deeper dive into this, that number will be fully realized, whether it increases or decreases. But at this stage, with approximately $96,000 in costs, with a return of about $500,000, we're set to see a fairly notable return on that investment of these services. I will note that I did just email the Common Council a red line version of the agreement with Baker Tilly. We had proposed a few edits to their agreement based upon our city attorney's review. They are currently assessing those edits, although we do not actually anticipate any significant change in there based upon prior agreements with Baker Tilly, and they have been generally accepting of those edits that the city attorney has requested, and we don't anticipate that to change.
Do we need to amend the motion to reflect that at all?
What I think you can do is just indicate that in the approval that it's the agreement is approved as amended by the city attorney or as suggested by the city attorney.
Okay. I think Micah made the motion. Is that amenable to you? All right. I have a question. So IRA tax credits, that's a federal tax incentive. I do have concerns about spending the money on this and then that money disappears. what has the conversation with Baker Tilly been in that regard?
One of the reasons we all wanted to do the direct referral too was to give them some additional weeks in order to get on this, because we know that in particular what we've been hearing with the solar arrays is that perhaps we need to have some documentation already filed, or at least a portion of the project underway in some way, shape, or form in order to be able to ensure those tax credits. So we think that getting this moving will hopefully help us fully capitalize on those credits, and we're optimistic at this point in time, based on what they had just shared with us, roughly a month or so ago when they put the proposal together.
Micah?
I had a similar question. So that $500,000, that's a current state kind of, it reflects, I guess, the current landscape, because I'm sure that number was probably larger when we first started this project and bidding this project and whatnot.
It could be, although I think for the most part, those tax credits, at least through the end of this year, are largely unchanged from what they had been when we had previously looked at this. I have heard in informal conversations that for commercial projects such as this, the tax credits might have a little bit longer of a grace period on them, so to speak, than the end of this year. And like I say, approximately a month or so ago, Baker Tilly did run that estimate, and so we feel that we're in the ballpark of where we should be. And I can't say how much we may have anticipated in the past, but again, largely it hasn't changed until really what changed is not what qualifies; it's how fast you have to claim it.
Yeah, along the same lines. There's verbiage that I read, at least for like individual homeowners, that a solar PV system needs to be placed in service by December 31st of this year in order to qualify for the tax credits. And that's obviously not going to happen for the police facility. I feel like the geothermal system had a much longer, or, the deadline for that was several years later. But did Baker Tilly say anything about that off the top of the discussion?
I didn't have any conversations directly with them about the solar array, but I have had conversations with others who are, I would say, well-informed in the field. And the commercial side of things does appear to be different than residential. And I still think that we're in the window there to capitalize on the tax credits for the solar side because of the commercial component.
Will Baker Tilly, so this resolution is very specific to the IRA tax credits, but there are certainly other incentives for renewable energy on buildings, such as Focus on Energy. I don't know if we'd qualify for the Solar for Good program through the Coolyard Foundation. Just off the top of my head, a couple of things that I've seen in the past. Are they going to help with that as well, or is staff planning to do that separately?
I'm not entirely sure how we're going to approach that yet. I'll look into that, though, and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
There's other verbiage in this documentation about grant writing and the investment plan. What is that about? It felt like there were two disjointed items in the documentation for this resolution.
Are you talking about the Baker Tilly agreement specifically, or which document are you referring to?
Let me see. So in the referral sheet itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph says the investment plan identified the use of TID closure excess increment funding to assist with grant writing, and $75,000 was included in the 2024 budget and carried over into 2025. Some of that funding has already been used on transportation grant applications with possible plans for additional use in the future. Is that just, are we using some of those funds to pay for the Baker Tilly? It was just kind of unclear.
That is language that Misty added, and I do recall looking at the approval that was entered into OnBase on this, and it does look like we are using excess TID increment for these services.
Okay, so I guess I'm still a little confused on the $75,000 grant writing thing.
So the original investment plan had $75,000 allocated for grant writing assistance.
From the TID excess?
From the TID excess.
Okay, so we're redirecting that.
Correct. And some of that, as noted, has been utilized. I know Public Works, for instance, just used about $5,000 or $6,000 to submit for a couple of grants. One related to the path at Post Road on Traceway Drive between Fish and Post, and then also for the Irish Lane project. You've already noticed through your role in MPO that there's been an immediate return on that investment there. So, yeah.
Seeing nothing else, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R 224-25, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R 172-25, request to amend the Administrator Employment Agreement.
I move approval.
Motion to approve by Alder Jetzer, and our HR Director is here with us.
Okay, let me make sure that we can see my screen. Yes, all right, excellent. So good evening. I'm here to request to amend the City Administrator Employment Agreement. So we have two employees here at the city that have employment agreements. It's our City Attorney and our City Administrator. What we're looking to do today is to amend the agreement so that we can mirror the City Attorney's employment agreement that allows for the mayor to have more discretion as far as the percentage of merit increase to give the City Administrator. Right now, she is tied to only giving up to a 2% merit increase, whereas with the City Attorney, she has full discretion to give quite a bit more of a percentage increase. So I've got a little slideshow for you here. Hopefully you can see it on my screen. There you go, perfect. So I wanted to show you Chad's current salary is $174,000. I thought it would be helpful to see kind of some of our surrounding communities and what their city administrator is making. You can see that Fitchburg is quite a bit lower. When I gave this presentation at Personnel, I did mention that Sun Prairie has been often a comparable that we've used for negotiations. They have been quite a bit higher. So I don't want to say that they are a comparable any longer because they are paying their employees quite a bit more than us and to where we can't match that. So I want to just emphasize that. But still, they're in the vicinity and it's important to know what they're paying other city administrators. If we were to lose Chad, our city administrator, we would need to post at a higher rate than what we are currently paying him in order to get qualified candidates. One of the questions that Personnel had was, why are we so much lower than other municipalities? And it really gets down to we haven't been able to give annual increases because we've been maxed at that 2%. So had the mayor had discretion like she's had with our city attorney, he would be quite a bit higher than the 174 that he's at right now. So the proposed contract language amendment just basically allows the mayor to give equal to or greater than the pay for performance range guidelines, and I can share what that is in the next slide. There is a cap, of course. So there's a cap of 15% above the highest available rate in the city pay plan. This does not mean that the mayor can give a 15% pay increase for 1 year. So I will share that on the next slide here. So the key change, the current language limits the mayor to the standard pay for performance, which is 2%. So all employees can receive up to a 2% merit increase every year, and that's our non-represented. This does not include union employees. What we're just looking to do is have discretion that if a city administrator is performing really well, that the mayor can give higher than that. On this next slide, I just wanted to highlight that, bear with me. The question, can the mayor award a 15% increase each year? No. So all merit increases have to be budgeted. We would never budget for a 15% pay increase for one person for a year. It is a cumulative ceiling above the highest city pay plan rate. Excuse me. So it's not an annual increase amount. So basically we look at our pay plan and we look at the highest pay rate on that pay plan. And the highest that our city administrator can make is 15% higher than that highest pay maximum. So I'm going to show you what those amounts are on this next page. So current rate of pay is $83.65 per hour. So that's the city administrator's current pay. With the proposed amendment, our highest city pay plan rate right now is $84.15. With this amendment, the mayor could go up to $96.77, but that would be a 15% merit increase. That is not what she's looking to do. She just wants discretion to work anywhere between where he currently is up to that $96.77 per hour. So our city administrator has not received a merit increase at all this year. So what we're looking to do is go back, it would be retro back to January. And that's partly because the mayor wanted to amend his contract. And it's taken us some time to get to this point, but we feel really comfortable with this. And whatever we do will be budgeted for this year and years to come. So any questions about the amendment?
Thanks for the presentation. Looks really good.
Absolutely.
And the Personnel Committee did approve this.
They did approve it.
Yes.
Yep.
Wanted to confirm that.
Yes.
Bill?
I assume neighboring municipalities have similar employee agreements for their attorneys and administrators?
Yeah, usually high-level positions like that, they'll have employment agreements, absolutely. Yep, and we have a compression policy, so we bring in our employees pretty high right off the bat. So the city's compression ensures that our city administrator is making 7.5% above the highest paid subordinate. And so when someone first starts, they're going to be making quite a bit, but then that's where everything slows down because the mayor's been only able to give the 2% every year. So. But everyone has different employment agreements. They might have different stipulations. Some aren't merit-based. It might be longevity-based pay increases every year. So every employer is a little bit different.
And does this mean so is the city attorney and the city administrator contract basically the same at this point? Or I'm sure there's some differences.
There'll be some slight differences, but at least in this merit pay, they'll mirror each other.
Great.
Yep.
Other questions? Michael?
So the 84.15, that's currently the highest potential pay rate that someone could have, right? No one currently has that because it wouldn't then have to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of Resolution R-17225, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Sarah. Next item is 7 announcements. Our next finance meeting will be December 9, 2025. And I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Alder Lattice. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 6:15 p.m. Thank you.